Russia just lost the one thing it can't replace, and the world hasn't noticed yet. In a single 24-hour window, Ukraine didn't just strike a warship. It set fire to the financial engine powering Putin's entire war machine. And the numbers coming out of the Black Sea are almost impossible to believe. If you want the military analysis the mainstream media skips, subscribe right now. This channel breaks it down differently. Here's what you need to understand before anything else. Ukraine has been executing a strategy so precise, so methodical, that military analysts are calling it a textbook case in asymmetric warfare. But what is that strategy exactly? And why is it quietly destroying Russia from the inside out? We'll get there. But first, the battlefield. On April 6th, Ukraine's unmanned systems forces launched a coordinated multi-target assault across the Black Sea region that hit 3 separate objectives simultaneously. The man who announced the operation was Rodion Brody, the head of Ukraine's drone forces. And what his teams pulled off that day was extraordinary. The first target, the Admiral Makarov, a Burevestnik-class frigate, and one of only 3 of its kind Russia has ever successfully built. This ship wasn't just any warship. It was one of the last vessels in the Black Sea Fleet still capable of launching caliber cruise missiles, supersonic weapons with a 2,500 kilometer range and a 450 killing warhead. In March alone, Russia fired 138 of these missiles into Ukraine. That number was already down 52% from February, a sign of how badly Russia's arsenal is being depleted. Ukraine targeted the Makarov with FPV drones that the ship's own air defense systems completely failed to intercept. Footage of the strike shows the vessel firing desperately before the drones hit home. Another cruise missile launcher is now gone from Russia's order of battle. But here's where the story shifts, and this is what almost nobody is talking about. We cover what others miss. Subscribe so the next breakdown reaches you the moment it drops. At the exact same moment Ukraine's drones were closing in on the Makarov, a second set of drones, delivered by sea-based unmanned motherships, was systematically destroying air defense radars positioned on the Sayash self-elevating oil platform offshore. Ukraine has confirmed it developed maritime drones capable of ferrying FPV attack drones across vast distances, then launching them directly at their targets. The Sayash platform was converted by Russia into a radar node for its regional air defense network. That network is now degraded, and what that means is critical. It creates open corridors in Russian airspace for future Ukrainian strikes deeper into the mainland. But even that is still not the main event. The main event was Novorossiysk. On the same day, approximately 50 Ukrainian drones swarmed the Sheskari's oil terminal, one of Russia's most economically vital installations anywhere in the country. The fires that erupted were so large they appeared in satellite imagery from orbit, flames and smoke columns visible from space. Not a metaphor. Actual orbital photography. Now let's do the math, because this is where the true scale of what Ukraine is doing becomes undeniable. The Sheskari's terminal processes between 3 and 3.2 million metric tons of crude oil per month. 1 metric ton equals roughly 7.33 barrels. That's approximately 22 million barrels moving through this single facility every 30 days. On April 2nd, Russia's benchmark Urals crude was trading at $65 per barrel. Run those numbers, you get $143 billion per month flowing through one terminal. And right now, it isn't flowing at all. It's burning. This is the 4th successful strike on Novorossiysk in 6 months. The previous attack on March 2nd destroyed 6 of the terminal's 7 oil loading arms and forced a complete port shutdown. The Admiral Makarov was also caught in that strike, which is likely why its air defenses were already compromised on April 6th. Still here? This is exactly the kind of analysis this channel exists to deliver. Subscribe and never miss it. But here's the question nobody has answered yet. Why is Ukraine hitting oil terminals instead of military bases? Why spend 50 drones on a fuel facility when those same drones could strike an ammunition depot or a command center? The answer reveals something fundamental about how Ukraine is actually fighting this war, and it's more sophisticated than anything you'll see covered in a nightly news segment. Ukraine has made a strategic decision. The fastest path to ending this war is not defeating Russia on the battlefield. It's bankrupting Russia off it. Oil and gas revenues account for roughly 30% of Russia's federal budget. When those revenues decline, the Kremlin's ability to fund military salaries, weapons contracts, ammunition production, and logistics all decline with them. It's not a dramatic single collapse. It's a slow financial hemorrhage that compounds over months, and Ukraine has been accelerating it systematically. In late March, Ukraine conducted intensive strikes on Primorsk and Ust-Luga, Russia's two largest oil export terminals in the Baltic Sea. Together, those facilities account for approximately 40% of Russia's total crude oil export capacity, roughly 2 million barrels per day. Fires at Ust-Luga were visible from Finland. Around 50 vessels were reportedly jammed in the Gulf of Finland on March 25th, unable to move. According to TVP World Reporting, Ukraine's oil infrastructure campaign had already eliminated nearly $970 million in anticipated Russian revenue by March 29th, nearly $1 billion before the April 6th strikes even happened. The effect compounds beyond the physical damage. Every time a terminal burns, tanker captains make a calculation. Is the profit on this voyage worth the risk of sailing into a war zone? Increasingly, the answer is no. As shipping companies divert away from these ports, Russia's oil sits in storage, unsold, unable to generate revenue, unable to fund soldiers or shells. Russia cannot defend everything simultaneously. Its Black Sea Fleet, the force supposed to protect these installations, has lost over a third of its vessels to a country that had almost no navy when this war began. Ukraine built an asymmetric naval capability from scratch using drone technology and executed it with a precision that has fundamentally redrawn the balance of power at sea. What you're watching unfold in the Black Sea isn't just a military campaign, it's a deliberate, methodical economic siege. One strike at a time, one terminal at a time, $1 billion at a time. And it is working. The fires at Novorossiysk aren't a side story, they are the story. Every barrel Russia can't export is a weapon Ukraine doesn't have to face. Every dollar that doesn't reach the Kremlin is a missile that never gets built, a tank that never gets repaired, a soldier who doesn't get paid. Putin's war machine runs on oil money. Ukraine is burning the fuel supply, and the only question left is how long Russia can keep fighting a war it can no longer afford. If this analysis gave you a perspective you didn't have before, subscribe now. And share this with someone who needs to understand what's really happening in this war. Every share helps us keep this coverage going.